Welcome. In our channel. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I'm super curious. 10 years of love. That's what I thought I had. But behind my back, the man I loved was planning a grand wedding with my best friend. The twist. She was battling terminal cancer, and this was her dying wish. What makes it worse is that Ethan, my boyfriend of a decade, went out of his way to hide everything from me. He blocked my messages, silenced anyone who might let the truth slip, and made sure I never found out. That night, I didn't know he was celebrating his marriage with Sophie on an island while I sat at home crying until I fainted. He didn't even bother to check on me. And just days later, when my heart condition relapsed and I needed him most, he left me alone to rush her to the hospital, nearly costing me my life. It was around that time that Lucas came into my life. A successful businessman, he was everything Ethan wasn't: attentive, caring, and always there when I needed someone. When he proposed, I hesitated at first. But after everything, I realized I deserved better. So I said yes. Lucas was eager, almost too eager, to make our engagement official. He sent me message after message, making sure I was serious about marrying him. Then he sent over a selection of diamond rings from an auction, letting me choose whichever I liked. I picked one, a beautiful pink diamond ring, and that was it. I didn't hesitate. I didn't look back. But just as I was showing Ethan the ring, he overheard. His reaction was strange. Panic flickered across his face, but before either of us could say anything, my phone rang. It was Sophie. Sobbing, she told me she was scared after another nosebleed. Before I could respond, Ethan snatched the phone and rushed out, leaving me behind once again. He had promised we'd go night cruising on the Pearl River that evening, supposedly to make up for missing our 10th anniversary. But now, watching him run toward another woman, I realized something. I didn't care anymore. My heart didn't ache. There were no waves of pain. Just silence. When Lucas called to confirm our plans, I answered calmly. He was coming to pick me up the next day, and I told him I'd be ready. After hanging up, I made one last call, to Ethan's grandfather. We'd shared so many memories together. His family had practically raised me. My grandfather and his had been close friends since their army days, and when I got sick at 8, they welcomed me into their home. Over the years, Ethan's parents treated me like their own daughter. That's why I felt I owed them a proper goodbye. I never saw Ethan that day. Sophie sent me a photo, Ethan laughing, eating cake while she smeared frosting on his face. Then she retracted the message, apologizing. She said Ethan thought the photo was cute and wanted it. I didn't reply. Instead, I packed my bags. The next morning, Ethan finally came home. He brought me a gift, a Rolex watch lined with diamonds. I recognized it immediately. He'd given Sophie something similar. He asked if I was mad. I told him no. That Sophie was sick, and of course he should be there for her. He looked confused, maybe even hurt, but eventually sighed and said we still had a long road ahead. Sophie wasn't the only one on his mind. He told me he had a business trip coming up and wouldn't be back for a few days. I simply nodded. Secretly, I hoped he wouldn't come back at all, so I could leave quietly and say goodbye to his family without any drama. The next day, I visited Ethan's house with gifts in hand. His mother looked worried. "Lana, what happened? Why are you going back now?" His father slammed the table, asking where Ethan was and if he'd hurt me. I hesitated, then lied, telling them Ethan knew about my decision to return to Beijing. Before I could leave, the door opened. There stood Ethan, and beside him Sophie, smiling like she already belonged. She asked why I was there, as if I were the intruder. I didn't answer. I just walked past them and headed for the door. Ethan followed me, trying to explain. He said he brought Sophie there so his parents could help find a doctor for her treatment. He added that Sophie was my friend, so I wouldn't mind. But all I could think about was the promise he made under the cherry blossom tree when we were both 18. How he once told me marrying me was his dream. Now he was bringing another woman into his family, lying to me about going on a business trip. I looked at him and said softly, "How could that be? I've never been a stingy person. I just won't care about those who aren't worth it." He seemed taken aback. "Lana, do you really not care at all?" Maybe I would have cared once. Maybe I would have gotten angry when he spent time with Sophie. But not anymore. I didn't want to explain, and there was nothing left to say. Later that day, he kissed my forehead before heading to the elevator. I wiped it off as soon as he was gone. On our 10th anniversary, he used the same excuse, a business trip. But that night I received a video call from Sophie. That's when I saw the truth. A grand wedding, full of joy and celebration. Ethan and Sophie's wedding. 3 months earlier, Sophie had posted on Instagram that she wished to marry the person she loved most before she died. At the time, I hadn't noticed the signs. I even asked her in the comments who that person was. She replied, "You'll know when the time comes." And now I did. The moment I saw the video, my heart shattered. The pain was unbearable. I called Ethan endlessly, desperate for answers. But that night he didn't answer a single call. I cried until I passed out while he celebrated his wedding night with her. Everything was finally ending. When I returned home, Sophie called again. This time she apologized, saying she didn't expect to run into me that day. I didn't respond. She took a deep breath and continued, envy creeping into her voice. "Ethan's mom is really kind," she said. "She asked how I'm doing and wants to help me find a good doctor." Then she paused. Lowering her voice, she asked, "Lana, tell me, why can't I be the one to marry into the Ethan family?" I laughed bitterly. "Because you don't have what it takes." Then I hung up, ready to block her forever. But by accident, I clicked into her Instagram profile and saw the final betrayal. She had stolen my design drafts and entered them into a competition. That drawing was a birthday gift I had made for Ethan. I never imagined he would hide it from me and give it to her. At that moment I knew. My chapter with Ethan was over. And whatever came next, I would walk it with my head held high. I sat quietly, trying to steady my trembling hands after everything that had just unfolded. My heart was racing, but I forced myself to stay calm. I pulled out the copyright certificate for my design, proof that the work Sophie submitted wasn't hers. I reported her plagiarized entry on the competition website. Honestly, I didn't want to stoop to this, but I couldn't just stand by and watch someone take something so important from me. Not long after, my friend Chloe called. She co-runs the studio with me and is also technically friends with Sophie, though their relationship has always been rocky. I told her everything over the phone, including the fact that I was getting married. Chloe was furious. "This Sophie, she's unbelievable. Using her illness as an excuse to steal another woman's man. Who even knows if she's really sick? This is driving me crazy. I should call her and give her a piece of my mind." Hearing her loyalty warmed my heart, but I stopped her. "Forget it. I don't have the energy anymore. The wedding is coming up soon anyway." Just as I said that, footsteps echoed behind me, and Ethan's voice cut through the room, sharp and confused. "Wedding? What wedding?" I hung up the phone and turned to look at him. He seemed nervous, which was unusual. I decided to test him a little. "I just heard some gossip," I said casually. "There's this guy who secretly held a wedding with another girl behind his girlfriend's back. My friend said he's despicable, and the girlfriend must be pitiful, still thinking he's the love of her life." The moment those words left my mouth, Ethan practically exploded. What do they know? That guy probably had his reasons. Maybe it was fake, just to fulfill a dying wish of someone who's seriously ill. He spoke like it was some noble act, and in that moment I almost laughed. 10 years together, and here he was defending something so deeply wrong. I suddenly felt like all those years were nothing more than wasted time. Sensing my coldness, Ethan stepped closer and wrapped his arms around me. "Lana, what's going on with you lately? You know how much I love you. After we settle things with Sophie, let's get married. Okay?" As he spoke, his hands started moving beneath my shirt. I gently pushed him away. "Sorry. I don't feel anything anymore. He looked at me for a long time, searching my face for something. Anything, but found nothing. Eventually he let go and muttered, "I'll sleep in the study tonight." That night, I barely got any sleep before I heard him leave the house in a hurry. I rolled over and tried to ignore it. But the next morning when I opened the door, there he was, sitting in the living room like he hadn't slept at all. He confronted me immediately. "Why did you report Sophie for plagiarism? Do you know how much damage this could do to her?" I smiled, though it didn't reach my eyes. "Do you even care whether she copied my work or not?" Ethan looked stunned. "Lana, how did you become like this? Where's the kind person you used to be? You've already won so many awards. What difference does it make if she gets one too? Sophie is angry, and now her condition has worsened. She's in the hospital again, nearly dying, just hoping to feel the joy of winning once before the end." His words made me angrier than I expected. My fingers trembled slightly as I responded. "Of course it makes a difference, Ethan. You know what I've sacrificed for my art. The winters spent painting until my hands cracked and bled. You can't just hand my work over to someone else because they're sick. If she wants to feel what it's like to win, she should earn it herself. No one touches my work and gets away with it." Ethan didn't seem to hear me. He just shook his head. "You've changed." Then he walked out. And that's when my body gave out. I collapsed, clutching my chest, gasping for air. I managed to cry out, "Ethan, save me," but he never turned back. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. Lucas was holding me tightly. "We're going back to Beijing this time," he whispered. I closed my eyes slowly and nodded. At that moment I realized something. Sometimes losing hope isn't a slow burn. Sometimes it's a single moment that destroys everything. Ethan didn't realize I was gone until 3 days later. He called non-stop, but I was done. I blocked him. Why should I keep waiting for someone who only seems to care about Sophie? Back in Beijing, I sat curled up on an Italian-made sofa while Lucas arranged for a custom wedding dress to be delivered. He gently wrapped his arm around me. "Which style do you like?" he asked. I browsed through the options and settled on a strapless mermaid gown. "This one looks nice," I said. Lucas smiled and ruffled my hair. "Then this one it is." He went off to finalize the wedding details with the planner. Meanwhile, Chloe kept me updated. Apparently, Ethan had gone completely off the rails when he realized I'd disappeared. He searched everywhere for me and eventually learned from his parents that I was back in the capital. "Lana, what do you think his reaction will be when he finds out you're really married?" she asked. Before I could answer, the doorbell rang. I assumed it was someone from the wedding team, so I stood up to open the door. But instead of a staff member, I saw Ethan standing there. His eyes wide with disbelief. "Lana, you're really here," he said hoarsely. "Why would you leave without saying anything? You must have done it on purpose to hurt me, right? Come back with me. We'll get married now." Before I could respond, Lucas stepped forward. "Ethan, please stay away from my wife." Ethan staggered back, his voice shaking. "Your wife? Lana, stop joking. After 10 years together, how can you just say it's over? How can you throw away everything we promised?" I didn't want to drag this out. I handed him the marriage certificate. "I'm not lying. I really got married." His expression crumpled. Why, he choked out. Lucas stepped in. "Maybe you should ask yourself why you married someone else behind her back while claiming to love her." He pulled out a stack of photos and threw them on the floor. In every picture, Sophie was smiling brightly beside Ethan, looking like the happiest woman in the world. Ethan scrambled to explain. "It's not what you think. Sophie and I are in a fake marriage, like playing house. I'm just fulfilling a wish for her before she passes." A tear slipped down my cheek. Lucas wiped it away gently. I stepped forward. "So your marriage to her is fake, but what about your feelings for her? Are those fake too?" Ethan hesitated. "She's your friend. I was just putting on a show for her. I thought you wouldn't mind." I laughed bitterly. "You believed that? And what about the day you rushed out without a second thought? Did you ever think I might get so upset I'd have a heart attack and almost die at home? Ethan's face paled. He looked up sharply. What did you say? I'm tired, Ethan. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I turned away. But he wasn't done. His face darkened, shifting from guilt to anger in seconds. Fine. Even if you're married, even if I have to tie you up, I'll drag you back to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get you divorced. He pulled out a blank check and tossed it at Lucas. Pretty boy, have you heard of the Chi family in Heeshire? Fill in whatever amount you want. Just divorce her. I wanted to lash out, but Lucas held me back. He simply smiled. Is this how you think you can win her back? Because if so, you're doing a terrible job. Ethan snapped. Do you even understand what we've shared? 10 years together. Childhood sweethearts. You think you can just replace me? Lucas remained calm. Maybe not. But at least I'd never treat her like a possession you can summon and discard. Ethan lunged at him, but Lucas caught his fist effortlessly. Tie him up, Lucas ordered. Within moments, Ethan was restrained, helpless and humiliated. As the guards dragged him away, Lucas turned to me. Don't worry. I don't usually act like this. But with Ethan, anything less wouldn't work. I smiled softly. Actually, I think your way was perfect. Later that evening, Lucas organized a dinner between our families to officially announce our wedding. It was the first time I'd meet his mother, and I was a little nervous. My palms were sweaty, but Lucas held my hand under the table. Don't be afraid. My parents really like you. As both sides arrived, the atmosphere was surprisingly warm. When Lucas's mother finally saw me, she smiled kindly, like she already knew exactly who I was. That evening, Lucas organized a dinner between our families to officially announce our wedding. It was the first time I'd meet his mother, and I'll admit, I was a little nervous. My palms were slightly sweaty as we waited for everyone to arrive. Lucas held my hand under the table, giving it a gentle squeeze. Don't be afraid, he whispered. My parents really like you. As both sides arrived, the atmosphere remained surprisingly warm and harmonious. When Lucas's mother finally saw me, she couldn't stop smiling. She even brought out a beautiful brocade box and handed it to me with both hands. I've always heard Lucas talk about you, she said warmly. And today I finally get to meet the real you. You're even more beautiful than I imagined. Her words caught me off guard for a moment. I met Lucas at an art exhibition where he was one of the exhibitors and I was the curator. We hit it off instantly, and from that very first conversation there was a spark. 2 months later, here we were, getting married. Will he often mention me in front of his family? The thought made me smile slightly. Lucas nudged me gently. Go ahead, open the box and take a look. I assumed it might be a gift for meeting the family, maybe a watch or a designer bag. But when I lifted the lid, my mother beside me gasped audibly. Inside wasn't just any gift. It was the ancestral jade bracelet of the Lucas family. A deep green kingfisher jade, polished to perfection. I remembered reading an article once where a financial journalist mentioned this piece, estimating its value in the 9 figures. I quickly tried to hand the box back. This is too precious. I can't accept something like this. But Lucas's mother simply smiled and picked up the bracelet. Without hesitation, she helped me put it on. This is a gift for my future daughter-in-law, she said gently. No matter the cost, nothing is too precious for you. She placed her hand over mine and added softly, because you deserve it. That day, when I returned home with my parents, I was surprised to see Ethan's parents already waiting in the living room. My mom sighed quietly. At the time, your grandfather insisted on sending you to Heeshire, and the Ethan family promised repeatedly that they'd take good care of you. We all thought you and Ethan would end up together. We don't know what happened between you two, but you've received so much kindness from their family over the years. It wouldn't be right to turn them away now. I found her reasoning reasonable. Mom, don't worry, I told her. I'll handle this well. I personally brought 2 cups of tea into the study. When Ethan's mother saw me, her eyes immediately welled up. "Lana, I heard you came back to the capital to get married," she said softly. I took a deep breath. "Uncle, Aunt, I won't hide anything from you anymore. Ethan and I are done." Uncle Chi frowned deeply, anger flashing in his eyes. "Has that little brat done something wrong to you? Just tell me, and I'll beat him myself." I stayed silent, but Ethan's mother seemed to understand from my expression. "Is it because of Sophie?" she asked carefully. I didn't confirm it outright, but my silence spoke volumes. Ethan's mother looked down, shame written across her face. "Lana, we've always treated you like our own daughter. After everything, I don't even know how to face you anymore. That boy, he shouldn't have done such a thing." Over the years, Ethan's mother had shown me nothing but kindness, so I couldn't possibly let go of our bond because of Ethan's actions. "Auntie," I said gently, "no matter what happens, you and Uncle will always be the people I respect the most." I could guess why they had come, likely trying to win me back somehow. But after understanding the full story, I knew there was no turning back. That evening, as I sat across from Lucas's mother, she reached over and gently touched my hand. "You have such soft hands," she said with a smile. "Just like your mother's." I blinked in surprise. My own mother had never mentioned knowing her well. And yet, there was something about the way she looked at me, not just kindness but recognition. Later that night, after everyone had gone home and Lucas was busy finalizing some last-minute wedding arrangements, his mother pulled me aside. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you," she said quietly. "But not here. Not now. Just know that I've always believed you were meant to be part of this family, even before Lucas met you." I stared at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She only smiled, patted my arm and walked away, leaving me standing there with more questions than answers. The next day, while going through some old photo albums with Lucas's mom, I found a picture tucked inside the back cover. It showed two little boys playing on a beach, one clearly Lucas and the other Ethan. My breath caught. Lucas's mother chuckled softly. They used to be inseparable. Before everything changed. It hit me then, how small the world truly is. How tangled our pasts can be, even when we think we're starting fresh. But maybe that's what life is, a series of choices. And mine had already been made. A week later, I stood at the altar, wearing the Kingfisher jade bracelet and a dress I once imagined I'd wear for someone else. Lucas looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. And as I said my vows, I realized something strange. I didn't feel like I was closing a chapter. I felt like I was opening a new book. One filled with second chances, hidden truths, and a future that finally belonged to me.